going on, everybody? Welcome to the Gamers for Life podcast, where we talk that gaming shit whenever we can, however we can. One of your hosts, Jarrell. We got a full house today. Starting out with Arturo. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much. Seasons are changing. I'm looking outside my window right now. The fall foliage changing has commenced. I got my little yellow wilting tree out front and this really cool reddish orangey tree behind it. So this whole thing called seasons. I'm liking it, man. I'm liking it.
You rocking that pumpkin spice?
No, no, I'm no, I'm no as I am no longer in a relationship with a woman from the mountains of Caucasus. No, I'm no longer baking or making pumpkin spice stuff.
Also, as an inside joke, because our very first episode was called Pumpkin Spice Bullshit.
Bullshit, yeah.
149 episodes ago. And with me here is Church is in session. What's going on, Church?
It feels good, man. Just been playing a lot of games. Life is good. So,
Right on. As long as you're not watching the Joker movie, everything's good, right?
oh, dude, those are like 2 hours. I wanted to get back, bro. That movie was so terrible. I was like a hardcore fan, so mad. I think what made it worse is I got back into comic books. I was trying to catch up on the DC universe, and I was reading a bunch of comic books. And I went to go see the movie, and I was like, "Yo, this is a big fu to fans."
Right.
Like blatantly. Dude, that movie pissed me off so much.
I think because obviously I haven't seen it, but definitely I've heard that narrative. A lot of people not liking it every time I hear about the film. But I think one of the things that really disappoints me is that it's the same director from the first one, but it's still like this result. So and then like I heard that like Todd Phillips was like doubling down on like the whole on the film in general, and I'm just like, bro, like you're kind of disappointing me here. Like, I really love the first one, you know what I mean? And like, this is like you're like now you're just aligning with whatever fuckhead exec said. Let's do a musical, you know? So I'm like, oh my god, or musical, right? In quotes, because we're like, that's like how dare it even call it
Yeah,
that?
I mean, dude, I could go on a rant with this. I don't know if you want me to or not, but like,
Hey, you're here, bro. You're here.
is
You
it,
missed last
so
week, man. You got some makeup
so
rants to do.
I did my I was in my like internet hate of how much I hate this film. So like, let me go check out the director. Whether like, who is this like guy Todd Phillips? Unfortunately, he made a lot of films I did enjoy. I like Euro Trip. I like Old School. I like the Hangover movies. I'm like, oh, this is all the same guy. I was like, okay. Yeah, I was like, I like this film and I like the Joker. But when you go see the film, the acting's pretty good with Joaquin Phoenix. He is the character you like, but it just seems like a regression of his character from the first film. And the film systematically takes moments to shit on why you even like the character Joker in the DC because it gives this perception of like what message are you sending the audience like you shouldn't look up to this guy. I was like, I don't think anybody really looks up to the Joker. It's more so you kind of seeing the origin story of the Joker. It's one of the most popular stories in comic books that you read today. And it's kind of cool to see a film tackle that. And that's why the first film was so successful. But then it starts singing, bro. And I love musicals. I love musical, but this shit ain't no musical. It doesn't. Arthur and I were talking pre recording that it should advance the plot, like it's singing and stuff is happening. Nope, these are just transitional scenes to. It cuts away to a different film where he's in the Joker mask because you can finally see him in the Joker mask and make up with Harley Quinn. And it's like, oh, this is. It doesn't really make sense what's happening on film. Um, and the songs are terrible. It starts like a very a cappella, slow singing songs. And like most musicals only maybe have one or two of those songs. Like there's no score that just rides to get you excited in the film. It's very, melancholy and sad the entire time. My thoughts are sporadic. Harley Quinn is terrible. Worst Harley Quinn I've ever seen in the film.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think her depiction of the character is so not true to the core of the comic books that I question it. I'm like, what was the purpose in this film entirely? To even with the directors kind of saying like, hey, I don't think we're giving the people what they're looking for. Just like some meta commentary, like literally in the film. I'm like, yeah, you fucking not. And it just kind of let a bad taste in my mouth that I'm like, okay, so you didn't want to make the second film. but you decided to take the millions of dollars to make the second film and then charge people to get a fuck you to the audience. And I'm like, well, bro, don't take the money. Nobody forced your hand to do this, you know? And if you are going to take the money, just give the people what they want and don't make a third film. Like, what are we doing here? It feels a little bit scammy, and it's not even because of my fandom or love for the genre in general. It's more like, damn, like that. Like if somebody did that shit to me on the street, I probably would have smacked them or something like that. Like they, you know, like if you're going to like take my money and just like try to like say fuck you to my face like that, we're gonna have problems. But like don't go on the internet and say, woe is me, I'm misunderstood as a director, I don't know what to do, and you're just taking millions of dollars. Like I've only saw the
Right.
film because I liked the first film, and on that good faith, I went to go see the second one, and you know, to be ha ha ha, you know, F you. It's not cool. I mean, I can go into details of why the film is shitty, bro. The relationship between Joker and Harley Quinn is terrible. Like, I don't even care about spoiling for the audience because you guys should do something better with your time anyway. That's how I feel about it. Um, it just is untrue. She's like manipulative of Joker. The power dynamic is completely switched when that's not the story between the two characters. There's barely any violence in the film. You know, Arthur doesn't really go out and do anything Joker-ish, and it's just really him being like a sad version of himself. Well, the first film left all this mystique and mystery, like how many people did Arthur kill? Was it all in his head, right? What did he do,
Right, right. That was a
right?
big part of the first one where it's just like, yeah, what's real and what's not. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you get definitive answers in this film, right? And there's some continuity issues because, you know, they give a number about how many people Arthur actually did or did not kill. And then I'm like, well, I think you guys are missing the nurse at the end of the first film where he's walking away in the white room and there's blood all on the ground. He's like running away. You know,
Right.
that was Arthur. He's a crazy psychopath. And when you start the second film, he's basically Arthur from the first film again. It's just it's unfortunate. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'd rather see something else. Yeah. So
So,
any questions? Good.
I get well before we introduce, but I was curious to get your thoughts on. So for was it just the writing for Lady Gaga for Harley Quinn was this trash, or was Lady Gaga's performance bad too, or was it both? What were your thoughts on
I have,
Harley Quinn and
I,
Lady
I have
Gaga?
a I have a
Okay.
question with that. I have a question with that. Um, so comparing it not one for one, but let's say Jack Black and Bowser. When we saw Jack Black play Bowser in the Mario movie, it's like we got more Jack Black than Bowser, but it worked. It absolutely worked on a great level. But with Charles' question with Harley Quinn, was it more Lady Gaga or was it more like Harley Quinn or like just but either way, clearly whatever which way did it go, clearly like it didn't go in a good way.
Yeah, so I think it's a combination of a few things. So what's I don't think it's a more Jack Black than Bowser situation, right? Where you get Lady Gaga to me is just an okay actress. There's no performance where I've seen of her personally when I'm blown away, nor do I think she can carry a project by herself. I think the closest we've seen was A Star Is Born,
Yeah.
also by Todd Phillip as well, right? Which I
Really?
really, yeah, which I really enjoyed the
I
film.
really enjoyed that film too. What the fuck?
Dude, this guy,
This
dude,
guy's a hack. Like, why did he make this Joker too
Right.
movie?
I have a theory. I know Church doesn't go on to more to get the Lady Gaga situation, but I put in the chat. I still say my theory was this movie was supposed to be one of the tax write-offs that WB was doing. Because remember, WB had multiple like finished products. There's gonna be a new Looney Tunes like Acme. I think it was like Coyote versus Acme, like building on why the Coyote just keeps getting fucked over from everything he buys from Acme. And I'm like, okay, I want to see that. So there's gonna be a Scooby Doo thing, and then of course Batwoman. You know that whole like we saw the trailers, we knew Batwoman. Like Batwoman was again a done finished product, and they took off the shelves for tax write purposes. And then like shortly after that, they were getting investigated by the FTC or FCC, whoever, about the legality behind that. So I still say the fact we're talking about. Oh, by the way, yeah, this one movie. Oh, by the way, Starbone's really good. Oh, Todd Phillips did that too. I still say my half conspiracy slash joke is that this movie was also supposed to be one of the movies that's supposed to be xed out as a tax write off, but they had to push it through. They had to actually release it since they were getting investigated.
Bro, somebody call the IRS. They should have let WB do that shit because this film should never have come out.
I thought they were getting sued for doing that shit because I know what you're talking about.
bro.
I thought they were getting sued
Yeah,
for that. I thought they were like, "Hey, like this isn't legal anymore."
it's ongoing. There's no hard decision since that was announced, but it was like they're being investigated, or it was like being investigated by someone of the government agencies. But I like Church. He's like, "Yo, IRS, you should like, you know what? They could have let this one cut too. Like, yeah, it's fucked
Yeah,
up. We didn't get Scooby Doo. We didn't get fucked up. We didn't get Scooby Doo, Batwin,
yeah.
and and
They
other shit. But
canceled.
they could have let this one. They could have let this one die.
Right. It's terrible. Justified. Like, did you see the shit? Like, yeah, let them cancel.
Okay, so
so
I do have good news, and I forgot about this. We can rest assured Bradley Cooper actually directed *Star Is Born*. Because
thank God.
if Todd Phillips, I would have been like, yo, like I have
Was
to
he,
start my rants too. But
did he write it or something? Or
I think
maybe he's like
I think he
executive
directed
producer.
it. Yeah, I think he wrote it. Well, he directed it. I think he co-wrote it, and then he did some of the music too. Because yeah, he was actually playing those instruments. He's playing the guitar for real. But yeah. So, whew. But yeah, man, fuck Todd Phillips.
Um, so what other movies? I'm gonna go to shit on this guy a little bit more. Because I really feel like he did on my stuff. What's his filmography? Oh, he did like he did the Hangover films, Project X,
Jeez.
and he produced A Star Is Born, and he made
Okay,
the
produced
movie
it.
War Dogs as well, which
Mm.
I kind of did enjoy a little bit.
What was that again? Why does that ring a bell?
It has what's that fat guy's name? I'm sorry, let me go back. It has Jonah Hill and Ana
Oh
de
yeah, yeah,
Armas
yeah.
and Bradley Cooper.
Hey man,
Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
fat anymore.
No, War Dogs was like the other, like they were gun runners. It was like there's two big gun mercenary movies, which is of
Yeah.
course Lord of War, which is the guy,
Yeah.
which is a movie that kind of hits a little different since that guy got he got released recently because that was the Brittany Griner guy that we had to trade for, and then War
Right.
Dogs was the other gun running movie
Oh.
with you, right, with Jonah Hill and the guy from Top Gun. Yeah, yeah.
So let me get back to Lady Gaga, real quick. So I think if you like Lady Gaga, she is good in this film. I don't think she's done anything bad. If you like her before, you're gonna like her here. It's just the character direction is pretty bad for her in Acts 2 and 3. When you
Mm.
first meet her, it's like, okay, cool, this is Harley Quinn. Her take is she's a fan that's obsessed with the Joker. Comic books, this is the same kind of setup as Joker's new, um, you know, uh, counterpart. His name's Punchline. Harley Quinn left the league, and there's Punchline in the comic books, who's just a crazy fan that loves Joker. And that's kind of how they took this Harley Quinn in the film. What happens is she don't really have too many funny moments, and the songs I just are bad. All the songs in the film are terrible. And it's the same mood. It's kind of like Jarrell, it's kind of like speak singing, you know? There's not a song like, "Hey, I walk down the hall, blah 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 blah." It's so
Oh.
it's not really singing, and there's no memorable tune. So that falls flat, and then her outfits are just terrible. None of them look good for Harley Quinn, and then her character direction in terms of the writing is just bad. And that's why she's like the worst Harley Quinn. And
Damn.
honestly, it's just, man, I never saw her in the role at first. They never say anything like pudding. They don't even say Mr. J, anything like this to
Dang.
simple fanfare, right? She could even wrote a letter to him in the film at one point, but just there's nothing.
Having her drop a Mr. J with like Harley Quinn or Lady Gaga's like half Brooklyn accent would have fit just right for that role too.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
we couldn't get nothing. I don't know. I've definitely spoiled the shit out of that movie for myself because again, I'm like, I'm down to waste like 20 minutes of watching a video on it instead of a couple hours, knowing this will eventually come to HBO Max. But yeah, like I saw
Yeah.
there was like a tap dancing scene, and I'm like, this is the Joker. Okay, this is. I I was a little upset because I was upset because I'm like, man, we don't get too many movies where the main character is named Arthur, where that doesn't involve Camelot. So I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. We got Arthur in movies again.
Well,
And
hopefully, if they
now,
do the Red Dead 2 story, Arthur Morgan will be done
there you
well.
go. There you go. It's not too often we get Arthur's in entertainment, like I said, outside that Camelot stuff. So I was like, cool, Arthur's going back to the silver screen. And fuck, they fucked
So,
it.
Yep. He's
Look,
terrible.
look what they did to my boy.
so if you're watching this, hello, and of course, you
Don't
should
go see this. Don't see this movie. We will
don't
save you
see
money.
this. Don't see this
You
film.
triggered me at the beginning, bro.
No, you did nothing wrong. I walked you into that. So no, I wanted you to go through it. That's why we have timestamps for the show, so you can clue out what you want. But first and foremost, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. We're doing great things. We got a lot of great goddamn podcast episodes. I always listen to them randomly just to see the chronology of everything in our great conversations. Obviously, Arthur kicking ass with the game streaming. We've been doing Warhammer 2, playing with Caleb on operations and shit since he just beat the campaign. Congrats. Or, sorry, I should be calling him Bacon. Congrats, Bacon.
Either way.
And then, yeah, as far as anything else, Gamers for Life, as far as like if you prefer to listen to the podcast, just go to linktree.com/Gamers for Life, the number 4 life. And then when it comes to the YouTube, it's at G4L Podcast. So, because it's easier to find the podcast, trying to get more subscribers, bop, bop, bop. So be sure to do that. And then here at the Gamers for Life Podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose by clicking on the links of the time code within the description of the episode, which I'll actually do since, we started off with the Joker rant, which was very much needed. Thank you, Church. So you can go to what segment you want to listen to or watch, or you can just hang out with us here at the Gamers for Life Podcast. And first and foremost, Church brought up to us, which we haven't looked into for a while, which we should be looking into, which is our fantasy card, our game fantasy card for this year. And it looks like potentially Church might be coming out on top, pause. Given
Until then, there's only
scores.
current one top dog. That's me. So
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So currently with our fantasy with currency with the currently with the fantasy card here, I've known the status of it. I just haven't talked about it too much because I don't want to make you guys feel too bad with your life decisions on games. But but presently as of now, top down, I got me, which is I think my name again. You could also, Joel, you're saying that you're going back in past episodes, how much time has changed. As a man who now has a canceled Game Pass subscription, my I think of the name. My name on this fantasy draft, Dick Ride Game Pass. I don't want to. I'm at 111. Second, African Black Soap Drill is 84, and then currently, and third, I'll name this later, Church is 76. But with the projections, it's looking to be very, very, very close. Projections are, I end up on top with 155.3. And then again, very possibly very close in second, even if this changes hands by 2 digits. Church looking to possibly be second at 153.9. And then Jarrell looking at 139.01. And of course, Jarrell is just littered with calendar icons, meaning games that got delayed.
God damn it. I was so fucking upset.
We're two for two. Jarrell always picks a successful game, but he never gets his points because it's in alpha / early release. Last year, the game that did financially well and critically well was Sons of the Forest, but he never got his points because the official date was after our deadline. And same thing right now, he's with Hades 2. Hades 2 has been in this pre-alpha state on Steam for the longest time, but because it's not officially out, he cannot get his points.
That is correct. Any shit talking that you'd like to add on, Church?
Yeah, I mean, so when you choose like somebody like me who last year had the game of the year, Legend of Zelda, and looks like I'm gonna have game of the year again with this new metaphor game. It's just right that I come out on top. Like I have the vision. I see the future.
I will say this: you keep saying come out on top, but the projections show you come out on second. I'm just saying, like you keep saying top, but there's the word second by it, and then your number is technically less than mine. I'm just being clear.
Being clear. Yeah, but I'm also like my pedigree of game of the year contenders or choices. Like, you can't project that, man. Only I have that choice. And this game metaphor is going to be at the top. Well, what does it have right now? Is that a 9 out of 10? A 92,
Uh,
94?
right now you have a 9-2, which gave you 25 points.
Yep.
And then uh the only other game on the bracket that has a higher score is the game that I have, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Also a docket with some, thankfully, some Game of the Year contenders via Rebirth, Space Marine, and potentially, I think I had, yeah, Black Myth on there too. But yeah, last year when you were up first, we all knew it's like Breath of the Wild. Fuck, damn, he just got he just got Game of the Year. That shit unlocked because last year the competition was not as thick as it's looking to be this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta do one for next year, like before the end of the year, because there's some games in January that are coming out that I would
Yeah.
like, and same in February as well, that I would like to catch
Yeah.
up. So,
That's true. Maybe I can draft definitely before the year ends for this year, for next year, maybe.
Yeah.
Just so we can, yeah, to your point, we can start early with some of those, because yeah, we always draft like in March.
Yeah.
mhm.
And reminder too for plans amongst ourselves by end of the year is Joe and I always do this in church. This would be our third year first, I believe, with us. Like the Oscars, we pick our game of the year,
Oh
winners
yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
for Jeff Keighley's thing. That one's a little different because that one's a little different at Will Say Church because it's less of a draft, more like you can pick your picks, and if you have the same ones, then that's fine. It's just those little ones that really separate it. Case in point, last year I took it by one. And this was including some of the games that Drell and I had overlapping. Like I think speaking of a game that's come up on this podcast a lot last year, I think we both had like best sound design, Hi-Fi Rush, something like that. So there was like a couple overlaps. So it's a little different. Just you pick what you think's going to win or what you want to win. And if we all have like, there's gonna be multiple categories, we all have the same shit. That's fine. It's where it separates it. Like I said last year I ended up taking it by 1 point.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, since you brought it up, and obviously it's on your fantasy card, Church Fantazio, word on the street, you have played the game, and obviously this is actually, by the way, this is one of the games that was in, what was it? Was it a state of play?
I think I think it was the Xbox Showcase
It was
because
Yeah, it
the Xbox
was.
Okay,
it was the
okay.
Xbox Showcase because
Yeah,
a lot of because Persona
that's right.
Persona's had
Yeah.
Persona's had partnerships has had partnerships with Xbox, and this was one of the games. This was one of the mini games that was shown at that legendary showcase. This may have gone under the
Yeah.
radar for a lot of people because, like I said, Persona. I know that Church is definitely the crown would absolutely take this, but for context, for those of us that aren't as familiar with Persona is like one of those IPs and franchises where it's like if you're in, you're all in. But like I said, for those type of games, if you're not in it, if you're not in it or like that's not your thing, you're like, okay, cool, just another game coming to Xbox, cool. And Church was like, ah,
Yeah, it was like, oh my god.
but I have one last thing too. The reason I remember the name of it is Metaphor Refantazio. Is because it makes me think, what if the movie Fantasia was Italian, Fantazio? So I don't know. That's I just remember the name of it. But Church, how are you liking this new IP from the Persona franchise?
Yeah, I mean, Arthur, you hit it right on the head, man. I am a big fan of Persona, so coming from this new studio Project O, which is you have the creators from Persona 5 and his team creating something new, while a B team is going off of Persona 6. I was excited to see what they're going to come up with. I think I want to give credit before going into the diving into the game. It's just we haven't had too many demos of late when it comes to new games. And I think the ones I can remember is Final Fantasy 16, which got me the game, and then you got a demo for this new game Metaphor, which is like 10 hours you can put into that demo for a JRPG. And that's amazing. Yeah, I think I spent like 2 weekends just like doing the demo, loving the game before I even bought the game. Go ahead, Joe.
No, no, I just think that's amazing. I haven't heard of a demo that long. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, and then of course you can carry over your save progress to the final game, so it's cool, and it gives you all that incentive to pick it up. And that's what the game needed. Now, when I first started the game, the demo, the beginning was very weak. I'll say maybe I wasn't in the right mood, but I'll say the first 20 to 30 minutes, the pacing was kind of weird. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But once I got past the half hour mark and started listening and diving into the story, getting into some combat, I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. And it's really cool. It's a medieval fantasy RPG, and which is different from the Persona games, which is more like, supernatural and modern age where kids are like in high school, which I love that setting. It's kind of cool. But they go back to this old school RPG style. And they basically have taken everything you love about the previous games and improved it in terms of gameplay and just how you kind of approach. So what I love about this game, it got rid of the Pokemon style esque thing that you see from Persona. So go ahead, Drew. Um, so Persona is basically you fight monsters and then you can like kind of capture the monsters. It's like adult Pokemon, and then you can fuse monsters together, create something else. This way, you kind of just create your own archetype as a healer, a knight, or a mage, and each character that you have in the game can you unlock that new ability, and then you can switch that character to any class you want, and you can pass skills between those classes. So it's a lot more flexible in terms of building the team that you want, and you don't have to worry about the management of capturing new monsters that you play with. This is similar to Shinigami Tensei, if you play the series as well, as opposed to the Persona series. And a new thing they have with combat is they have formations. We basically, in your turn-based RPG, you can either have your characters on front line or back line. If you're on the front line, you do more physical damage, right? You get a buff there. But if you're in the back line, you also get a debuff to your physical damage, but you also take less damage. So there's incentive in the gameplay, would say if you run as a knight, to put that in your back line, use a spell to basically, hey, I'm a tank, everybody hit me from the enemy team, and you block and you absorb that damage for your team while your attackers are picking them off, whether it be mages or your warriors. So it's really cool in terms of when to advance and uh, uh, retreat a little bit in combat to give you that flexibility. So that's a lot fun. And then in the open world, while you're doing the dungeon crawling, you actually have this kind of, I wouldn't say it's intricate fighting, but you can go around and kind of fight enemies. Like you hit them to break their shield, and it basically starts the combat sequence with them in a stun and daze state. It's advantageous for you to kind of swing your hammer at them before you engage in combat because it gives you an advantage in battle. But if they hit you in the real world, they give you at a big disadvantage in the combat. I mean, bro, when I say big disadvantage, like they're gonna wipe out your entire squad. So you start from a deficit and you're trying to like recover and attack at the same time. So the combat's really refreshing, and it has the UI fancy stuff that you love from the previous Persona games. They've gone all out for the UI. Every screen is animated, every action between the stuff that you do, selecting skills, items, equipment. It's very beautiful, it's very fluid, and it's very unique and different from Persona. So it makes the game like more engaging from that aspect. It's just really fun to look at it, and the team went crazy for it as well.
Nice. How's the music? How's the music on it?
Oh, bro, it's amazing. It's
Really?
like, yeah, it's the battle theme for the music is like he I don't know, it just has this like Japanese rapping to it, like, but
Oh
it's like
wow.
some like epic choir music going on. So the music is captivating. It really immerses you into the game, and it just kind of jazzes you up. So check out the battle theme, to the music if you can pull it up right now. It starts off kind of weird with the rapping. And the talking up a little bit um
Yeah, it sounds really dope. I mean, so I didn't know that this was connected to the Persona
it's not.
series. Oh, it's not. Okay.
It's
You were just
standalone.
comparing. I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah,
I see. And then you might have said this already too, but is it turn-based
it is.
fighting? Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll say the game approach is more of like you go into a dungeon and you can run around that dungeon to collect treasures, and there's like enemies roaming around, and then you can hit your enemy before going into a turn-based combat, and that gives you an advantage in that combat, as opposed to the enemy can attack you, giving you disadvantage. So it has like two different battle stages to fighting, and it actually kind of helps you clear out enemies that are weaker than you because you can just kind of one shot them, get the XP, and keep pushing through the dungeon. Like you don't need to take your time worrying about a good tough fight. Um, and then, it has, as you engage with the game more, I will say that it is a, Atlas, P studio game, right? It has the same tropes that you expect from Persona. So if you don't like that stuff from Persona in terms of character interaction, building up your intelligence, your charming endurance, so you can unlock certain activities in throughout the game, all those things are still there. So case in point, you get to a point in the story very on where, hey, we got to go into this dungeon, but we have 10 days to do it, right? So in each day, because it's a calendar cycle, you have day and night. And during the day and night, you have the ability to do one or two things. You can shop and buy as many items as you want, and that doesn't pass time, or you can hang out with the homie you can improve your friendship with them, which improves their stats and they'll unlocks new battle possibilities for them, and that takes, the entire afternoon. And then you have one activity at night. So you have 10 days to figure out how you want to spend it to either improve your combat abilities, your overall character attributes, or just exploring the city. So it's very Persona in that style, which is very unique for its series. But everything, if you don't like that, you're probably not going to like Metaphor. They streamline the process a little bit more, which is, it feels like the actions that you're doing are walking to the final goal of the dungeon. As Persona, it's like, hey, we're gonna go fuck up this teacher, but you got 10 days to, chill and do what you want. Like, as opposed to like, yo, the dungeon's like in the church over there. Let me, rally the people together and get better swords or stuff, or go do some bounties real quick to build up my character. I feel more immersed in the game with the character that I'm doing, because it it all connects. The continuity between the dungeons and your day-to-day activities are very seamless, and it feels very nice for that aspect. And yeah, and the story is very political, and very deep, surprisingly. Yeah.
One thing I want to add, and Drill, I don't know if you saw it too, you should check the Facebook group chat. I put some screenshots in there. Dude, with this art style, it's like a horror anime, or it's like there's a very famous like anime artist who
Like
has a actually
Uzumaki.
he has a really divisive show. I think it's on Netflix, because like that show, it's like the episode 1 had all the budget and episode 2 had like no money. But yeah, it's like it's very horror anime-esque. Like it's very just that those dark, like the dark days of Salvador Dali and things like that. Like I just put up two screen, like for us, also for Alex and Joel to have reference to. There's like I said, there's like they put a couple like I put a couple of screenshots of some bosses or some fights in the chat. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yeah, very Uzumaki, very horror anime style. And I haven't seen. I can think of the last time. It's like, it's not one for one, but it's like, what if a From Software crazy cryptic horrible From Software boss was like animated instead of being photoreal as a CGI character. And this is like the closest you can get. Like, there's this fucking buffed out egg and a tree's coming through it and it's bleeding, and there's this face that's like it's taking itself off, and there's like another heart lung egg thing with cannon sticking out of it. And there's this angry moon. I don't know. It's definitely the art style I haven't seen in a while that looks awesome.
I checked the music. Music's pretty crazy. That battle theme's pretty wild. So definitely cool. Definitely cool. And then, do we know how long this game is, Church?
Yeah, dude. I think you pushing close to like 70 to 100 hours for the game.
Wow.
That
It's
sounds
Let's
that
go.
that sounds about right for a Persona
I
style
love it.
game.
Yeah, and it's tough, man. I wish the game was a little bit shorter. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
lot of time.
it's hard for our age and our lives.
Yeah.
We ain't youngins no more, man. We got shit
Yeah.
to do. But JRPGs, clearly, I'm really glad, upside downside depending how you look at it. But I'm really glad JRPGs are stay like continuing that, because if there's anything, even back in the day, like even like if back in the day, if you thought like Elden Ring was like the longest game you'd played at the time, oh my god, games like other Persona games, Star Ocean, and other JRPGs, you can put like 400. Those are the reviews. That's like, I put 400 hours in this game. I think I'm 3/4 of the way done. Or like, mind you, this like fully completing it, like leveling up everyone in your party, finding all the items and shit. But yeah. So
Even the
I'm glad
light,
that's
even the light work. Sorry, Kachal was saying even the light work at like Final Fantasy like 10 back in the day. Like I put like
yeah.
55 hours in that game. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for anybody that wants to check out the game, especially because there's so many reviews out that are giving this game high praise, dude, just download the demo. You know, you got a good chunk of the game that's going to introduce you to a lot of systems, and the onboarding's pretty nice when you get into it and friendly. I mean, it could be a little bit overwhelming if you're new to the series, but just check out the game and see if this is an RPG for you. I mean, there's a lot going on with the story that I find intriguing. I just love the genre. I mean, just nobody else makes games like Atlas a lot of the time. I mean, they're killing it. So when Xbox announced it, what was like a year ago, I was super
Mhm.
excited. I was like, and this game is delivering on all fronts right now. It's
I
pretty
have a
good.
I have a question with that drill. Not Joe. So I have a question with that church. So this was announced at that one game showcase. Is this? I know other Persona games, previous Persona games, are on Game Pass. Is this game at Game Pass or no?
No,
Okay,
it's not on Game Pass. It probably will be one day, you know.
eventually.
So
The Alice,
A
like I said,
10-hour demo is pretty fucking
either
gracious.
way.
yeah,
Games that have demos definitely make you want to pull the trigger. Like one game, Drell, I remember if Drell they had a demo for this, and we bought it after playing the demo, and even after we bought it, it was announced it was coming to Game Pass. It was like, oh fuck, we're out $50, but we still didn't get our money.
Oh, Outriders, right?
Outriders, there you
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
yeah,
Outriders. That was a
yeah.
game that had a
That
proper
did it.
demo. That had a proper demo, and we're like, oh, I'll fucking do it. Only $50. Let's go in. So that's cool. Like I said, I couldn't remember with Game Pass because I said I remember this got announced. I remember in that same showcase that was announced like Persona and like either like all the Persona catalog games or like a lot of them, definitely Persona 3 and 5, Joker, were coming to Game Pass, but I just remember if this one was gonna be a Game Pass day one. But yeah, like Church said, Atlas has a partnership with Game Pass, so this will eventually be in game. This will be on Game Pass eventually, but clearly day one, absolutely seems worth it. For any game right now that isn't scratching a JRPG itch.
Very
yeah.
cool. Very cool. I'll go at your sorry. Lasting thoughts for this guy.
I think what's cool about this game, and um, I mean, I think everybody should give it a try. I think it's doing some unique stuff, and I mean, I grew up not liking turn-based RPGs, and the Persona series, has changed my position a lot when it came to it. It's a lot of fun. It makes the combat really engaging. So if you into story, give this combat a chance. You know, it's pretty fun. So.
Very cool. Very cool. So, another game that has definitely surprised a lot of people and is another badass game to add to the docket here for this year is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And I heard that this game actually before it released it had more pre-orders than Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is
It's
fucking crazy.
Drill. It's special edition. $100 version had more pre-orders than all the Black Ops 6 editions.
Wow. Wow. That's
Now,
fucking nuts.
again, now we can say, I put in my own little chat in the group chat that yes, it is worth mentioning Black Ops 6 is coming to Game Pass, which I'm sure is affecting their purchasing, decisions by a lot of people. But still, again, Black Ops and Call of Duty is still the behemoth that it is. And so yeah, they have this quote unquote niche style. Because I think in Church, I think we talked about this too. Because I think you and I are more of like into anime fans in the group. It's like there's fighting games which are popular, Tekken, Street Fighter, things like that. But anime fighting games are even more of a subgenre because they feel so frequent. Like like how many Naruto Storm games there are. It's like for every time an anime gets popular, it gets its own fighting game. Like I forget if Demon Slayer had one, but like Bleach had one, of course, Naruto had one. There was Jump Force, of course. But so for this, like an anime fighting game, which is like normally the niche of the niche, like a subcategory of the fighting game genre, for this to be doing this fucking well, not even at launch, like day zero, because that shit dropped because this whole drill. This was that special edition I mentioned that was $100. This one had one of those things early where if you pay the $100 version, yeah, you get the season pass or you get like this character pack, but you get to play it like 3 or 4 days early. And like I said, dude, that second that shit dropped, bam, all my algorithm was like sparking zero, sparking zero, sparking zero. And it's already probably been tracked to be one of the top sellers of this year, and I'm very very happy for it. um I may pull the trigger and either buy it soon or wait another month and see if it drops possibly on sale for a Black Friday, because a guy that played all the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games and played all the Tenkaichi games on PS2. Remember, this game is this game is spiritually Budokai Tenkaichi 4. The developers did say that. Like, this game is not going to be named Tenkaichi 4, but they are treating us as this is the fourth in the Tenkaichi series, and it's been like I think 20 years since the PS2 era since we've had that. So very very solid chance. If one day I'm just rocking, maybe one too many Oktoberfests, and I'm just like, fuck it, Dragon Ball Z, or or if we wait till Black Friday, if it goes on sale, I may purchase it. And knowing me, I'll put in a group chat, be like, yo, church, you want to pull up or what the fuck? Let's go.
I already have it downloaded. Let's go. What are we doing?
Nice. Yeah. Go ahead, Church. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they know the target audience. I think this game is the demographic of people our age who grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. Troy, did you watch DBZ? I mean, right?
No, I fucking hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
And then there's like the Japanese version and then the American version. I'm like, I don't even know where the fucking start at this point. So
too busy learning how to play guitar. Whatever.
Right. So, I mean, at least for me growing up and my brothers, we loved Dragon Ball Z a whole lot. We used to play fight, do Kamehameyas to each other, and just grew up on the Budokai series completely, and even to Tenkaichi series after that as well. And so, Raging Blast for Xbox came out. I'm hardcore into anime fighting games completely, so much that I would buy, even for my GameCube, I would buy like the Japanese version of a Naruto game, and had to get a region unlock thing that I had to plug into my system. I think we may have all done this as gamers before, like everything was just open. So Sparking Zero is for me. I going to get the game and invite my brothers over and just like maybe order pizza and just spar for each other for like 3 or 4 hours and just go. It has everything I love. It has the entire story of the series, even including Super, who I still watch the anime. And what's cool about the Tenkaichi series too is they have the What If series too. I don't know if Arthur mentioned it earlier or not, but just like these new story dynamics that tells like, what if this happened or what if that happened? What happened if Vegeta landed on Earth first before Raditz? Like, how did that change the story? And those are always fun things where you give me these main storyline that I love, but just adding you new additions to this game, so that makes it fun. And just the fucking characters, bro. Just the combat, just like play anybody and everybody. Like, let's go from Hokyo to Dragon Ball characters to like Red Ribbon Army characters all the way to Super, which is Jiren. Like, this game is just made for me. It looks good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Drill, if you're to guess how many characters are in this game, what's a guess?
I don't know, 80.
100 more than that. The Zero roster is now complete. The game will have 182 characters, the most there has ever been in a Budokai Tenkaichi game, along with the new characters. This interview also focuses on the episode of blah blah blah. So one thing that adds to this, and when this character list was initially launched, people thought they were trying to bloat the numbers, because Jarrell, you can pick, let's say, a fusion character like Gotenks or Vegito off the bat, or you can build your team, because it's like kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom, but their way they assign your team I don't think the mechanic, which I'll go into which I'll go into this in a little bit. I don't think I've seen this mechanic somewhere else, but like you can't just pick all your OP characters and all your shit characters. Like they have a semi-balancing system. But what I was saying with this is with the character list, it's because you can pick um a fusion character outright, or you can pick the two base characters separately and fuse them in the game, and it gives you additional that character is essentially stronger if you spent your whatever you call it currency to get two separate characters to fuse during the match instead of having the fuse character outright. I forget if church you meant I mean you may tell me here. I forget if the different forms are different characters, because I know other Dragon Ball Z games did that, where it was like Goku Saiyan was one character, Goku Super Saiyan was another, Goku Super Saiyan 3 was another character. Looks like I know you can pick the fusion character separately, but I don't know if the different forms of characters are separate in this game. Do you know?
The different forms. Yeah, I mean, I think between you're talking about Goku has 23 different versions of himself in the
Yeah.
entire game, and Vegeta, same thing with Vegeta. Like,
like so Vegeta Saiyan and like Vegeta Super Saiyan, like those different forms, those are separate characters.
yes, yeah,
Okay. I knew the fusion thing. I knew the fusion thing. I wasn't entirely sure off that. So and so with that drill, similar with the fusions is the forms. Thank you for from that church. Is the game kind of addresses that not every character is quote unquote balanced, but they also kind of work with it is because you get a currency of like, let's say, I think it's called like, let's say power points.
DB
And
points.
and the better the character, the more points they cost. So there are some characters that like that one godlike character, that's your whole team because he takes up all the points. Or you can rock with some of the the lower level characters, but now you have multiple people on your team. So there are sometimes like people are playing online where it's like one character versus a team of 3 or a team of 4 because of that breakdown. So it's like I said, kind of a balance. And like I said, kind of this way, like I said, it costs more to pick Vegeta, a fusion character out, right? But you can spend less point, you can spend a different number of points to get these different characters. But either way, that roster, like I said, Church was saying, through that roster, 182 people, like everyone and everyone and their mom literally is in this fucking game, dude.
Yeah, one of my fond memories playing with my cousins when I was growing up is I remember we were playing Budokai. I think it was Tenkaichi 2, I want to say. But that was fucking fun. And I never played a Dragon Ball game. That was the first time I ever played a Dragon Ball game. But I just remember floating in the air fighting this other dude, and like I didn't know who was what, but I was like, this is fucking fun. Like, what the fuck? Like, I've never played a fighting game like that. Like, I was always on like some Tekken 3 shit, or like Soul Calibur or something like that, or Virtua Fighter, but I never played anything that was like the Tenkaichi series or the Dragon Ball games, and they're completely a different lane. Like, like they're kind of a different feeling, a different experience. And those are some of my fond memories as far as like playing with my cousins. Like playing that game was like pretty crazy. So I'm glad that this is kind of bringing those fond memories, back, and then being a great game at that. So it's pretty exciting stuff, definitely.
Yeah, I'm just excited for like, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever watch Evo, the fighting game tournament. I'm
Now owned by Sony.
right. And so I'm excited to see maybe not even Evo or some future fighting events coming up in the next year
Oh hell
to
yeah!
see, yeah, to see just like the premium players play this game. So I'm gonna hop on, enjoy the mechanics, and then just watch other people be like, just kill it or something. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
I can't wait.
That's
I
a good live
cannot
stream.
wait.
That's a good live stream opportunity, Arthur.
That's why that's one, honestly, Church, I'm glad you said you had this game, because I was like holding off pulling the trigger, because this is like a fighting game, and like any fighting game, it's 1000% better when you have like someone, when you have direct friends that has it. And to my knowledge, no one else in my friend group right now has the game. um yeah, but to Church just point to Evo, dude, if let's say there's an Evo moment where someone like beats and Church, this is more of a scenario you're talking, you'll be familiar with. Let's say someone beats Whis, which is like one of the strongest characters in the game, with like fucking Hercule, Mr. Satan, dude. Like I want to see that. Like
Right.
I want to see like I want to see just like some dude that is just a regular human, like not even a superhero, just a fucking guy. But I don't know, man. Yeah. You're definitely good call out with Evo. Definitely good call out with Evo. I can't wait for this game to hit that scene as it should. It's been a while since a game to this level. Maybe Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but again, that was more like a BlazBlue fight style. Whereas this is back to the roots. This like Jarl was saying, like Tenkaichi, like Jarl, like that's this type of fighting game we've kind of missed out on since that last game. Pretty much to this level, to this level of polishedness since possibly since the PS2 era. They're having games since then, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
And the one thing that Jarl started off with too is the success of this game. Like again, like the special edition alone, $100 version had more pre-orders than all of Black Ops 6. And additionally, as of right now, as of this weekend, it is the second most played fighting game at launch of all time. Funny enough, I don't know if you guys read the article. Do you guys want to guess what the first one is? The most played fighting game at launch?
At lunch, Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, that's a good thing. I was gonna say Street Fighter, maybe Street Fighter 4, and that's a bad guess.
It's an odd one. I think what affected this one, unlike Street Fighter and unlike Smash Brothers, this one it wasn't console exclusive, and it was free at launch. Multiverses.
Oh wow!
Apparently, Multiverses had the most players after launch, but again, I think the two major factors absolutely that affect that. It was a free game at launch, and then two, there was no console exclusivity. Whereas Smash, clearly one of the best legacy fighting games of all time. You have to have a Nintendo system for it. And the Draw's point, Street Fighter's had inconsistent console exclusivity leaning towards PlayStation for quite some time. That's also affected it. But yeah, so when I was like reading the article of like, well, who's the first? And I'm like, I would have never guessed Multiverses. That was the Warner Brothers one where it's like, hey, what if Bugs Bunny fought Superman? I don't fucking know. It's not. I ain't paying for that. Let's try it out.
Right.
But yeah, so this game post launch, like I said, Day 0 was about a week ago. Day 1 was a few days ago. I think this past Friday, as like 2 days ago, as we're recording this. Yeah, Friday, which is something also I think that affected it too. Because Church, remember, I think unlike Space Marine 2, remember Space Marine 2 Space Marine 2 also had the 4-day early access, but that 4-day early access was the only way you were to play it that weekend, whereas its original vanilla launch date was a fucking Monday. Now I'm like, well, that's bullshit. But this game was backwards. Like if you were to play it early, you were able to play it early like that Wednesday or something like that. But the vanilla launch date, October 11th, was this past Friday. So anyone that wanted to buy the game was able to play it, on a Friday. So having a launch day be a Friday, I think is genius. I don't know when that stopped because Joel, I remember the industry norm used to be Tuesdays.
Used to be Tuesday. They changed it. Yep.
Used to be Tuesdays. I'm fucking ill. 9 p.m. Eastern time. Midnight Eastern time, 9 p.m. Pacific time. But yeah, so this had to know that this game that hits all the nostalgia, all the fucking crazy analog mashing, that we all went through. On the PS2, we used to get those blisters. Remember, that was even an ad. That was an actual ad from the PS2 where the guy showed up to school. It was like a badge of honor who had the biggest fucking blisters coming to school on a Monday. It's like, yeah, you don't even fucking know, man. So again, to see this game having the success it's had, I'm very, very happy for it.
Definitely, man, definitely. And I think that kind of goes into our next. Just like looking at the bird's eye view of the games that have kind of just stuck to kind of like the old school ways of just like making a great game and really focusing on that versus how much money can we make at a time, i.e. most live service stuff. Obviously Helldivers 2, different situation, but got a pretty decent list of games that have been out this year that have been fantastic. Obviously Space Marine 2, we got this game, we got Refantazio, we got Black Myth Wukong. Helldivers 2 obviously came earlier in the year. So it's funny because there, I think a lot of the times we remember the games that were like, oh yeah, that was disappointing. Oh, that got pushed back, or oh whatever, you know. But there's at least a handful of games this year where we're like, okay, finally, like thank you for making this year like a better year for games. Versus, I remember there was one year that was fucking terrible, and likely we
Yeah.
get some pretty solid ones here. Your thoughts on that, Arthur? Excuse me. I know you brought up that list initially.
I just brought the list because again, like I said, Joel and I were, we've done the game of the year. We've done the game of the year picks as a thing for a while. And like I said, one of the years was like, I'll have no idea what the fuck was gonna be this one game of the year. We're like, I have no idea. And then of course last year was Breath of the Wild. We're like, duh. But um, but again, it wasn't too long ago. We were having a conversation of other developers and publishers shitting and criticizing on Baldur's Gate 3, saying, well, don't expect this to be the industry norm. Don't expect this to be the norm. Following that, to the following major AAA letdowns, Infinite, I don't know if you want to talk about it now because there was an update with Halo, now Halo Studios, but Halo Infinite, being Xbox's flagship and not having
Yeah, that's
a
the
cooperative
next
campaign at
topic.
launch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Baldur, quick timeline is, Baldur's Gate 3 was, followed up a lot of AAA disappointments. Halo Infinite, the flagship, the mascot of Xbox, didn't have a cooperative campaign at launch, didn't have a lot of features at launch. I forget it was the same year or not. Battlefield 2042 had some major issues at launch too. And there was other games we listed that year of like what's going on with AAA gaming. There were delays, just what's going on. And all of a sudden, Hogwarts Legacy comes out, ends up being the biggest game of the ends up the most successful selling game of that year. Baldur's Gate 3 ends up taking game of the year as it did, changing, having that critique of like, don't expect this to be industry norm. And then a couple months later, here we are, Helldivers 2, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine, Sparking Zero. And it's like these are multiple different genres, multiple different play styles of games, different lanes of gaming, all being, behemoths in their own right, as they should be. Another example this year was Power World. That was another game just break. Helldivers was setting records. Power World, Wukong, Space Marine, and now Sparking Zero are all setting these records. It's like one thing that Joe and I were talking about. We had a semi rant, the 2 weeks ago, where it's like just make good games to be good, make good games to be good, make good games to be fun, and a lot of the developers that clearly have seemingly done that this year, or have the sales to show it, and their fandom, the memes, the community, the activity online. Again, my phone is riddled with the Dragon Ball Z community of like, oh man, it's Thursday, I didn't spend $100, but yo, in 22 hours, the game's gonna drop. I can't fucking wait. Who's hopping on? And like that type of anticipation we really haven't seen since the glory days, I feel, of like the midnight launch era that you and I were a part of, Joel, when we had like over 500 people come out for GTA 5. And so to see what this year in gaming has been, we still have 2 months to go, but to see what this year in gaming has been following, again, Baldur's Gate 3, which the narrative became, don't expect this to be the norm. We have a list of games that are like, well, what if this is? Cooperative or not, season pass or not, battle pass or not, microtransaction or not, what if this can be, if not the industry norm, almost nostalgic of what the industry norm was. So I'm happy to have played some of these games. I'm happy to play some of these games with you guys, and soon to be Sparking Zero Church. I like to no hard thing, but no guarantee, but solid chance I pull a trigger, or at least if this game goes on sale. If Sparking Zero goes on sale for Black Friday, expect a group text from me like, yo, Church, let's fucking go. So either way, I'm happy. I'm very happy and thankful to have played some of the games this year that are potentially, keeping that narrative going of, well, what would it look like if this is it? What would it look like if this is the industry norm once again?
Right on, right on. How do you feel about this year, Church, as far as games?
It's a mixed bag for me, So it started off kind of funny. Suicide Squad, right? It came out, that whole debacle that we know very well. But then it was quickly followed with Helldivers, right? Which was just like a big moment in gaming. I gotta check the numbers to see if there's a resurgence going on for Helldivers too. But it seems like a lot of those player bases on Space Marine too as well. So um, it's good. I think there's something to be said that there are some developers out there that are making the games or the sequels to games for the fans that they actually want. Bandai Namco is very good at doing that, right? So people have been wanting a Tenkaichi game for a long time, and they delivered and gave them everything the fans wanted. And prior to that, the fan base was describing Dragon Ball Z Fighters. We want like a Blaze Blue Dragon Ball Z game. And they heard them and they released that game, and that game was critically acclaimed too amongst the fan base. So Bandai Namco is good at ever so often giving the fans what they want. I mean, they will put out generic anime games, but they've been trying with Kakarot or even the One Piece games. They did like an RPG not too long ago. I think overall for the state of the gaming this year, I think it's been good for like third and secondary publishers a lot. I think Black Wukong is, a hit. Tenkaichi's a hit. Metaphor is a hit. But I think the presence from like the people we thought that were going to kill it has been lacking, right? Xbox is kind of been hit or miss all year. I like, bro,
Definitely an identity crisis. We're like, what?
right.
Speaking for me, I think identity crisis.
I was gonna say the year started out with all of us having Game Pass. There was that showcase that all of us were high for Game Pass,
Yeah.
and now 2/3 of us don't even have it anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm still the last one standing on this side of the fence. It sucks that they do that showcase, right? And then all the dates get pushed out, and I'm like, what is getting released? Like, why am I even buying your next hardware? I was having a discussion with some other people too in terms of like the future of Xbox. Like, are they going to release new hardware compared to what I think what PlayStation's going to do? But then even PlayStation, man, it's identity crisis for them. I think they just got really lucky with Helldivers 2, and then Concord was a disaster. And the rumors of the next Horizon game, right, is going to be a live service game. They've already announced that, right, for
Ooh,
Horizon.
I missed that article.
Yeah, so
oh shit.
so they're not doing the trilogy closer. It's going to be a live service. So they're doubling down. It's just I don't. I don't know what the big hitters are doing, right? Ubisoft is going all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars was not that good. They might sell to Tencent. We see what happens. I was going to be out there getting, Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think it's called, but now I'm on Ghost of Tsushima, so whatever.
Right.
Right. So it's been a mixed bag this year, but I'm glad I got a few bangers, Final Fantasy 14 out of it, and we're going to close out it. I'm hoping to close out the year strong with Indiana Jones. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really curious to see how that does. Given all the stuff that's happened, as far as just, yeah, I mean, just when it comes to just, to me, Xbox having identity crisis, PlayStation definitely having some mixed messaging when it comes to some of their games, like having Horizon being a live service game complete, like that's kind of ridiculous to me. So, definitely some weirdness happening in that particular regard. But yeah, I definitely agree with both you guys as far as just, it's nice to, even though like this year hasn't been like this is not the best year for games, like to me by any stretch of the imagination, there has been some solid games that has been a nostalgic reminder as far as like, oh, it's so good when you play a game and it's good and you have that experience and like you feel like your money was well spent, like those are just, especially today, right? As far as like, man, these games like, to the general population, it's expensive regardless if technically they're cheaper than they've ever been. Like out of my fucking pocket, it's fucking expensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice when you do have that hit. That's solid. So and the games that are nostalgic reminders, right? Like as I've mentioned, I'm going to be buying fucking Snake Eater, Delta, probably on Steam, since I'm still rocking PC and everything. But
that looks good, actually.
Yeah, it finally won my vote. It finally won my vote. Originally, I was like, "Fuck you, Konami! You guys weren't even giving this the time of the day as far as respecting it." And they released more interviews and stuff and footage. And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll dial back what I said. It looks like you guys actually are respecting it." So yeah, I'm gonna pull the trigger on it. So it's once again, it's nice to see those things. And I hope Indiana Jones is terrible just for the sake of the fantasy card.
One thing I'll say to Snake Eater real quick. I know Charles talking about interviews and discourse and the footage and the gameplay. It's okay, Draw. We all know that if you watch the reveal trailer right now, the watch count also where Big Boss decides to unzip her jacket. It's like, oh man, this game's amazing.
I mean, that's an important part of this.
It is. It's crucial.
Right. Yeah.
You scroll through that trailer on YouTube. It's like, man, what's this 1, 3, 4 frames that just has all the watch count? Oh, okay, I fuck with this. Okay.
That Instagram where it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So one of the last topics here, and I don't think this is necessarily a sad note to end on, but it is one as far as like, I think it's a good one to end on. And I think we can all definitely have some type of contribution from a dialogue perspective. So 343 Studios, from my understanding, they changed their name to Halo Studios or Halo Game Studios, something to that degree. They've been showing some like Unreal Engine 5 type screenshot footage as far as for just for just the graphics enhancement or what have you, and obviously rebranding themselves, right? A lot of the leadership, if not most of them, from 343 Studios are gone after the releasing of Halo Infinite. We all know what happened with that. We've had many conversations on the show regarding Halo Infinite as far as just the disappointment in the regard. And for me, the biggest disappointment has always been the lack of focus from a co-op perspective. And even the campaign to some degree, there's a point where there had to be a patch where like, if you started a part of the campaign and then you stopped, like you wouldn't be able to go back. Just like a lot of nonsense because they focused on the multiplayer aspect and the open world or whatever that aspect was. So given that, I guess I'll start with you, Arthur. Tell me a little bit of your thoughts. Obviously, it seems like they're trying to win back the folks that kind of dropped off when it comes to Halo Infinite, and what does it got to take, when it comes to just kind of being back on that radar or having it be on our radar. So,
I played Halo for years. Victor and I, we beat every single Halo game in the Master Chief Collection on Game Pass. I thought it was so cool playing those games that at the flick of a button, like just bam, 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 you can go to old school graphics, new graphics, old school graphics, new graphics, just by hitting like, I think, I don't know, select or something like that, or down D-pad. It was like, so like, so if we're playing online, not split screen, but if you're playing online, I could be playing with old school graphics, and Drell, you could be playing with new school graphics. So, again, who doesn't love the Halo franchise? I remember in college, we did an inside joke for years because my roommate at the time, Raul, we had got, I think it was Halo Reach, and stayed up all night the day it came out, if not beating it, like playing as much as we could in one night. And I remember the next day when we were either playing the campaign or the online multiplayer again, one of our neighbors, our upstairs neighbor, who was also a college student. This isn't like, it's not like we're college students and she was like a 40-year-old woman. No, a fellow college days female came down banging on our door, and it's like, we guys been hearing you. You've been so loud. And this one phrase that was an inside joke for years was, I mean, what are you guys doing? Who laughs after midnight? And we were just taken aback, like, what the fuck? Like, who's this 20-year-old bitch about to apply for an ARB
people with
card?
a life, yeah.
Like, dude, for years that was like the biggest, fattest inside joke of like, who laughed? It was like, you guys remember the movie Employee of the Month, where it's like, this is an 81 Honda. How dare you? That was our version of like, who laughs after midnight? And so again, Halo, has for years had a place in my heart. So with Halo Infinite, I immediately, Gerald, you and I were there watching the launch. I immediately questioned it, because Halo follows that Resident Evil timeline in terms of naming their games, where it's like the quote unquote main story is like numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then so when they announced Halo Infinite, I'm like, whoa, why isn't this Halo 6? Because I liked ending the Halo 5. It was like a huge cliffhanger. The AI became like not sentient, but like we're having their own civil war, and had rejected through Cortana, their leader, the UNNC. So I'm like, damn, we're about to go to war with the other AI. That's gonna be Halo 6 is gonna be sick. And then all of a sudden Halo Infinite gets announced, and I'm like, oh, well, it's not 6. So then it turns out it's open world. And then the biggest, one of the biggest, I think, fuck ups, at least in terms of creative decision and modern day gaming, is that the campaign was not cooperative at launch. It took years, plural, for that game to get to be cooperative, to be cooperative campaign. I still haven't played the campaign to this day. 2 reasons: because the story I wanted, Halo 6, this isn't it. Apparently, and even then, I don't think we even will ever get a Halo 6, because that war that I wanted, that what would have been Halo 6, you find through like journal entries throughout Halo Infinite. So it's like that storyline will like maybe never happen. And then now with this, I put in the group chat, like, this is like a womp womp for me, like pin drop who cares moment, because for me, Halo has never had a problem with graphics. Like even Halo 1 at a time was like the pinnacle of graphics. When Halo 1 Combat Evolved first dropped, like that was the top tier, top shelf graphics. And then when 343 took over and we saw Halo 4, Halo 5, I remember talking to my friends, those were one of the few times, Joe, we always joke when you see a game trailer, it's like, who the fuck stops and smells the roses? That Halo 4 was the game where we like stopped and smelt the fucking roses because the game looked gorgeous. So for me, for Halo to announce a new graphical upgrade, I'm like, cool. It's never, that graphics never been the biggest concern for me for Halo. Joe and I, you were talking about, all I care about is, I don't care how pretty this game is. I don't care the fucking frame rate. I don't care the fucking resolution. If this game is not cooperative campaign at launch, I'm sorry. Even though they just rebranded themselves to Halo Studios, Xbox needs to fucking figure the fuck out of what this next Halo franchise and plans going to be if this new pretty Unreal game is not cooperative at launch. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Church, obviously, I know you've had some episodes, on the show being, definitely talking about this whole situation. And, we've even had a call, it's kind of, even you went back and were like, okay, let me see how it is now. And it's like, no, it's fucking dead, or whatever the case may be. So you've been very vocal on it. I mean, lend me your thoughts. What do you think about this name change, and what does it need to do for you to kind of have it on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, so in regards to the name change, I think a rebranding is needed just because Halo has left a bad taste in so many people's mouths. For I guess Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo 6. Um, and quite frankly, I just don't give a fuck about this announcement at all. I was like, this shit is just trying to hire people to come work on the game. And as a fan, I don't give a fuck about any of this. Like, what does this mean to me? You might have got rid of the leadership, but the same developers are still in the game, right? It's still 343 with just a new paint job. Like, what game are they going to actually make that is going to be considered good? Now, I did enjoy Infinite Campaign, so there was some gameplay mechanics that I did enjoy, and the multiplayer felt very nice, right? So I think they can nail the multiplayer in terms of online playing, and maybe the Unreal Engine would be good. But right now, I don't give a fuck about Halo, and I don't know if
Yeah,
Microsoft gives a fuck about Halo. I mean, since they got Call of Duty, like
yeah,
I don't know what this Foundry project is really going to do. There's rumors that hey, they're going to remake the first Halo game under the Unreal Engine 5 that they got going on, and okay, that's kind of cool. Put it on Game Pass for free. I mean, I check it out. I mean, I'm always going to check it out because it's going to be on Game Pass, right? It's an easy barrier of entry for me to check it out. And I like the first game, so it's kind of hard to mess up the first game, I suppose, too, if it's a new paint job. But in terms of where the direction of the game is going, I don't know. Are we continuing the story from Infinite? Question mark. Are we starting over? Okay. If so, what are we doing? Question mark. Am I going to like it? Is it going to have co-op? It should for Legendary. I don't even think that it took so long for Infinite to finally have that in. They gotta have it, like Arthur mentioned from the very beginning. I mean, that's what people want to do. Like, hey, who knew Halo game came out? Let's do the campaign. Let's run it on Legendary. And the biggest question mark too is it multi-platinum? Platform. I mean, I really think the
right.
next Halo game is going to be on PlayStation. I don't see it not being on it at the Bellman and multiplayer. They Xbox fans don't really like Halo anymore. I mean, maybe I just don't. I don't think majority of people are looking for the next installment. Nobody cares. I mean, why wouldn't you put this on other platforms to give a resurgence to the brand name again? Like I just
Yeah.
why wouldn't we do that? And in terms of what they need to do to win me over, um, I mean, I guess I don't. What do we want from a Halo game? And that's the question, right? I think I would want campaign multiplayer and some good multiplayer up front. Um, that's fine. In terms of the story I want them to tell, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I think what I, me personally, what I really wanted, what I thought Infinite was going to be, was just Halo but Destiny. I would love just a Halo game like it's ODST or Reach, where you can build your own, Spartan soldier, and you guys are getting deployed to different planets, running missions, Halo level style, and it's just kind of like Destiny. I thought, in terms of the gameplay and just like the fights that you're running over and over again, I think that would be a cool version of the game and feature for it. I don't know if we're ever going to get it, but it's
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's just kind of shit right now. I mean, who cares? Also, like, do you care about Halo? Like,
No, I'll just say I'm trying to a semi thing I've tried to do myself for the podcast moving forward is try to be a little more polite or not like as So when you said, you know what, hey, this is short to the point, oh yeah, fuck, like like I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's definitely on brand
that's
for I
but
think how we all
but
feel.
but again, so to answer again to your point, and I didn't say, I'll definitely say here again, I don't give two shits. They be old classic Arthur. I don't give a fuck because again, you can't take the mascot of your fucking franchise of your fucking console of a console where you're either losing or gave up. You may say you're not playing, but you're losing it. Um, and to flop this bad, and to say, hey, we're gonna have it look slightly prettier, and we're gonna have it with a new brand. It's like cool. No one gives a shit because every time I want to, I don't know if this is a curse, but every time we've seen a game paired along with an Unreal Tech demo, has it done well. Forspoken was the last one. Cool. Forspoken looked great, but people didn't like playing it. Cool. This might be like a more polished Halo game. Like Church, to your question, is the next Halo game going to be Halo 6, or is this next game going to be Halo Infinite 2? We don't know, or is this going or we don't know. Um, Again, no one gives a shit. I think something that might give me to get back into Halo and hell back on the Game Pass is if the next Halo game or something that I want to see. I want to see Halo 6, the campaign, the story that was left off at the ending of Halo 5, and to have it be cooperative. I think something that would be smart for Xbox is it might be a placeholder, but I think it may still be a success. I think it's for them to remake, like Church said, remake Halo 1 on Unreal Engine 5 and have that be cross platform at launch. I know it's not one for one, but I know a lot of Xbox players are still wanting to jump on Helldivers to help their PS5 homies. And then vice versa, if I think if Halo 1, I think if Halo 1 gets remastered on this new Unreal Engine like 5.2 or 5.3, whatever they're technically on, for Sony at launch, not this delayed shit, because we know like Indiana Jones is coming, but like Indiana Jones is coming this fall for Xbox, but then in January or February coming to PS5. But I think if they remake Halo 1, this needs to be a day one cross platform game, because people will say, "Oh, that's Xbox's thing," they're losing their thing. Like I said, something we and the whole internet collectively agrees. Xbox has already lost what its soul, what it means to be Xbox. So I think them possibly having a remaster of Halo 1 cross-platform at launch would be a success, or at least not a
Yeah.
success. At least a smart thing to do when they announce it. If they
yeah,
announce it.
Yeah.
I think they need to re-energize the game. I wouldn't know how to do it, right? Do you finally release a Halo Battle Royale, or did you miss that ship? In terms of Battle Royale games, like, oh, it's Halo, but it's live for service, but it has to be really good, right? And then you launch a campaign off of that engine, right? The single player or something. Or do you
Yeah.
launch the multiplayer? I mean, a lot of these talking points are the same talking points for Infinite. It's a new engine. we're going back to the Halo original stuff. We brought back core, it's the same selling points they sold us on Infinite, and we know how that turned out. And it was not that it was a bad game, it's just they couldn't keep up with the content demand. Like, and I don't know if Halo Studios is going to be able to do that. I mean, not to be unsensitive, but Microsoft just fired a bunch of people. Like
Yeah.
let go layoffs. Like how big is 343 Studio? I mean, Halo Studio is right now. How far away is a game? And like, are you just gonna keep making an old game of me? Does that even fit in the Master Chief Collection? Or
Right.
because it's on another engine, therefore it can't fit in the package anymore. It's not a seamless game. It's just like there's so many. I mean, I think ultimately it's the best move because that engine has its problems from what all the developers are saying, and you can hire more people to work on UE. But to Arthur's point, Unreal hasn't been that popular, and I think they want to move to Unreal Engine because they're gonna outsource it more. They're gonna outsource it to other developers to make parts of the game that they can't make in house, and I don't know if it's come together because I think you can make a good Halo game, but if you want the franchise to stand on top again, you got to make a a marvelous, amazing Halo game that redefines shooters once again. Because you just trying to be like, oh, it's okay. It's like, yeah, I don't. It needs to be great. And it's like, yo, this is a shooter. This campaign is insane. The way you talk to NPCs because it's open world. You have to change what it means to play a first person shooter game again, just like Halo did back in the early 2000s. Because just making level based campaigns again is not going to breathe new life into the game, um, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
Something that Drell said a lot, a phrase that I've caught on from this cannot, whatever this next Halo thing is, a remake, a Halo 6, Halo Infinite 2, whatever it is, as Drell says, it cannot be another Xbox 7 because that's something that's there, the king of the hill right now. It's like, hey, an Xbox first party game, it's a 7, cool. But how about
Yeah.
he finally gets some Game of the Year nods in there. One thing too, Church, I'll
oh,
say they even fucked up with was a multiplayer.
well,
Go
can
ahead.
I go back real quick before you make your
Yeah.
point? Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is this is the same thing I had with Bethesda and the next Elder Scroll games. Bethesda games were great back in the day because nobody else was doing what they're doing. They need to reapproach Elder Scrolls 6 differently because just going up to an NPC and talking to them is not good. Like if you take a game like Cyberpunk author, right? When you sitting down at the counter, you hopping in the car, it's a dynamic conversation where you're choosing options, but things are happening in the scenes around you. And if Elder Scrolls doesn't do that, right? They think they could just do Skyrim, but better graphics. It's not going to be as good. It's so dated. And that's the thing with Halo. You have to change the foundation of how you interact with the game. If you want it to be great, or you just, I don't know, got how else do you keep your mascot alive? But go ahead, Arthur. Sorry.
I'll just say one thing too. It's they said they said that they it was eventually announced that they were not going to have co-op campaign launch because they focused on the multiplayer. And then the multiplayer comes out, and what's not there? You can't search for different modes. It was just you had to do like the random shit. And they remember Church at launch, their battle pass system was all based on challenges. But if your challenges were based off of like a map type or a mode type, then you're just fucked. You're like, dude, I need to go win a team deathmatch. We keep doing operations, or we keep doing capture the flag. We keep doing capture the flag. But I really think they fucked up this game, and it showed. They forgot not only what the Halo community is about, but they forgot what the Halo community can do for the game. Is it was also announced there were two things that were going to be delayed at launch: the cooperative campaign and the Forge. And if you remember the Forge, that was the old school thing that really made Halo separate from everything else online, because you can customize your own maps, your own modes to play online. So if you look at really a lot of like the top videos or like Halo moments back in the day, those are on the Forge. It was like, hey, everyone starts at the bottom of the hill and you have to run to the top while there's like all this debris and warthogs flying at you. And those are moments, those are whole game modes that only existed in the Forge. Hell, even GTA 5 noticed. Hell, even GTA 5 Online noticed that, because if you remember, what was a huge upgrade to GTA 5 Online, what they let the community do. They let the community make their own races. They let the community make their own modes. They let the community do what the fuck they wanted. So when like YouTubers and streamers, really blew up from playing GTA 5 and things like that, it's because they were playing modes that the community made. And Halo used to have that with the Forge. And so to have that not present at launch, it's like, well, we didn't do this because we focused on multiplayer. It's like, hey, you can't choose what battle mode you want. You just have to do the random shit. Yeah. Hey, where's the Forge? I think that's been in Halo for generations. Oh, that's not gone there. We're too busy not focusing on the campaign, but also not focusing on the multiplayer. So I think for a lot of the diehard and creative Halo fans, that can, this is where it's like the community plays your game and supports your game by making their own popular modes. Like, I don't know if you guys ever played those modes in old school Halo. I don't know if you guys ever played those modes on GTA 5 Online. That shit was awesome, because it was like, it's like, yeah, they might have had built-in like shotguns versus snipers. That's, been there for a while. But again, to go from that to like, crazier versions of zombie or infected, whatever they called it, and then the crazy, like I said, crazier versions of capture the flag, to all the modes that the Forge used to have. If they don't have that in this next game, then that just really shows me that they've truly lost like core elements of what Halo is and what needs to be again.
Yeah. I think you guys made some really great points. And Church, I like the point that you made, the example you gave of Bethesda, and I feel like that's really what led to Starfield's kind of downfall. They try to do the old dog new old tricks, you know what I mean, the old tricks as far as going to the NPC talking and all this stuff, but it's like, yo, like, this is empty, like, what's going on. But just going back to Halo, yeah, I think they got to do a lot of stuff right, and when it comes to redefining everything, I think it does have to be cross-platform. I think co-op obviously has to be more of a forefront than multiplayer open world, and a solid campaign. And yeah, I stand on it's got to be a great game. Like, Halo was the Xbox mascot back in the day. Like, when we thought of Halo, we thought of Xbox. So I think as far as just the approach, even though if it's going to be cross-platform, having that same pride of, we're at least going to do the game justice, whether or not it is an exclusive to Xbox. Like, we're going to give this game, rebrand it, so it's not just like, oh yeah, there's that space game that, my dad played years ago. You know what I mean? Like, to bring like new people into the game. It needs to be great. It needs to be great. It needs to be really intuitive when it comes to just the combat and whatnot. And I don't know if that's what they want to do. That's the biggest thing, right? There's still a lot of unanswered questions. We don't really know what they want to do. And they have been kind of rolling out some of the same type of tactics that they did with Infinite. I think that is to be noted as well. And yeah, it's got to be this has got to be a 9 out of 10, or it needs to have that type of effort to be applied in. And it's just, there's been it goes back to the original notion, like, do we really care? Do we really care, because we've been jaded so hard, So, calling it Halo Studios, that's not making us excited as far as like, oh yeah, let's go. Like you guys got to do way more than that for us to even consider it. So, yes, sir. Oh, go ahead, Church.
Yeah, the only highlight that I can see from this is that maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is the Coalition uses Unreal Engine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they can get help. I mean, Machinima Games, or the people who made Doom to make the next Halo game. Give it to somebody else. But like, other than that, maybe you can outsource to your internal teams to improve the game for Halo or something like that. I don't know what engine Doom uses, but maybe it's Unreal as well. Let me check real quick. But
I think it's Unreal. Side note, while he checks that, odd question: do you guys like the new logo of Halo Studios? I don't.
It's terrible, bro. It looks
yeah,
ugly.
okay. I'm like, yo, if you're calling your game Halo Studios, why not just have it that has the same fucking logo as the game? Yeah, I mean, it's like you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You're calling yourself Halo Studios. Just, why is your H different? I don't know. It's really specific. But when I saw that, I'm like, oh,
There's
that's
even a Reddit forum that says, "Hey, Halo Studios, I fixed your logo."
oh Reddit, we love you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
go ahead, Church.
Yeah, I mean, they said they're using an engine called id Tech. I don't think it is Unreal 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, what? And this is more down the rabbit hole specifics, but like another thing they said how Halo Infinite they focus on the multiplayer players like accessibility. I don't mean like color blindness. I mean like old school Halo games. You can unlock all your armors and shit as you wanted, but this battle pass shit, you were like, oh cool, I get to unlock this. I can unlock a new color or a new like theme. Oh, but it's only for the right shoulder pad of that armor type. Like that was, I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you remember that much. I don't know if you played
I do.
at a launch church. Sorry, Joel, but church knows. It's like you would unlock like an armor set, right? But then as you level up the battle pass, you would like, oh, you got a new shoulder pad, but there's only a shoulder pad for that one armor set. And so it like took you forever to like really unlock or look how you wanted. And then coming off of a game, Halo Online, which had like, at the time, I think one of the best or one of the better um customized mechanics in terms of how you make your player look online, to go from that again where access and options and variety were available to you, and if you wanted more access options variety, you earn them by doing certain challenges, like not thematic challenges but scenario based challenges, and to go from that to Halo Infinite where it's like, oh, here's a battle pass, oh look, you're level 5, you finally unlocked a knee pad, oh but it's only for that one armor type, you don't have that knee pad for everything yet. It's like, oh whatever. Um, but yeah, so they definitely, like I said, I think we're all agreeing the sentiment that church, thankfully, church that we're all thinking. Who gives a fuck?
Yes, sir. I think we're gonna end it there. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have one potential good thing to end it on. It's not really like a news story topic, but Halloween's around the corner, and I was exploring some of the spooky games on the PlayStation 5, PlayStation Plus Premium catalog. A game that I've always wanted to play, but it's always been a PlayStation exclusive, is I'm really considering I might do either the week before or the day of Halloween. I might do an Until Dawn stream, because
Do it.
that Until Dawn or that developer that makes those really story like games, which I'll say this by the way, minus like the first Walking Dead game, I think if you take a whole catalog, at least for me, outside looking in, I haven't played Telltale games or these other types of Until Dawn style games. But from the outside looking in, I think these other games are a little bit better, or at least for what I like. But yeah, so I'm looking. So yeah, I'll keep you posted, Jarrell, and I'll put something in the group chat and or the social. But I'm really considering either next weekend, the week before Halloween, or even just the day of Halloween, that Thursday, and that weekend, do like an Until Dawn stream, because because it's been announced they're doing a remake, and of course the remake won't be available day one PlayStation Plus Premium, but the previous version is available on the PlayStation Plus Premium catalog. So I think I'll be checking it out stream wise as we get closer to Halloween.
Until Dawn's great. It's a really good fucking game. I just think to me the mistake was like them thinking that it's going to sell just as much, if not more, by doing a remake. I'm like, that's not, like, people played the game already. You know what I mean? I'm like, why would you expect to get more sales? But the game is excellent. The game is excellent. It's a really good. It's a great game to fucking stream too. So yeah, it's definitely that. Alan Wake 2 is another excellent one too. Another spooky game. I need to play that one again. I haven't beaten it, but yeah, good. Kudos to you on that Until Dawn there.
And I have my smart lights, I won't be on camera, but I have my smart lights um in my living room, so I may just turn, make it all like purple or yellow, like
Do it.
spooky colors.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good fucking game. That's really scary too. Really good. All right, folks. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. The Gamers for Life podcast, again, each and every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, discussing that gaming shit. I'm one of your hosts, Sherelle. With me is my comrades, Church and Arthur. Thanks again, boys. Appreciate y'all.
Happy to be here.
All righty, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace.